Oh boy, I'm really excited about this. This is a car I saw them release it. They really only give a very short lead time on these cars, really, compared to the other releases. I mean, it was like waiting a year for that. After they started having that casting release, they announced this. And I think this car is just awesome. Here's the debut of the 77 Fury. So we have a Monaco Dodge. Now we got a Plymouth. And Plymouth was actually a little bit cheaper, maybe sometimes. So had a little bit more of a stripped vehicle. And some of these I bet weren't just V8s. I bet maybe some of the cars they used had 6s in them. Who knows? But really, these cars were there to patrol the ports. They were patrolling the bridges, the tolls, basically all the areas where you could go interstate. So that included the airports, since the airports are so close to each other and the security costs were so high. The policing, they kind of created like a municipal coalition. So they kind of paid into this thing and created this police force so they could handle it and keep the local authorities, doing their job. Because it's a big thing by itself, and including the trains and boats, airplanes, anything really, all the transportation to and from. So this is the good colors on this car. This is the classic stuff. When I was coming up as a young guy, I remember these cars, and it was the whole thing. They had just all sorts of apparatus, because a lot of it had to do with traffic management at these choke points, basically, because you had to move a lot of people around, but do it with some sort of security. So they had big tow trucks, flatbeds, forklift trucks. They had things that would move the barriers between the highways. They had all sorts of things that were part of the Port Authority, and this is just one part of it. So this is more like a policing, security type vehicle that would be around, and would have the Port Authority police. So really interesting, really, really good. And it's awesome that they have this licensed from the Port Authority, and this is just great. And I was able to get the first batch. It looks like as soon as I saw it come up, I ordered it. So here it is. We're gonna take a look at it. Very similar to the other cars that we looked at. After this video is made, we're gonna do a roundup, because probably gonna get a couple more Plymouths as they're coming. And then in the future, one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to, they're gonna have a Detroit police car with one of these Chryslers. So that's definitely going to be in the collection. So they're getting pretty big. Collection's getting big. We're going to do a review at a later time. But let's look at this. So added some more accessories this time too. So it's the first time a push bar has been crafted for this vehicle. Really not too much of a difference in the chassis. They add 2 holes in the bumper, and then they put some stuff on the bottom. We'll look at that. Closed body, same chassis as the other cars. They did a really good job on the grill. I didn't have to do anything to it. I didn't have to correct it at all. So it's great. And the license plate's a work of art as well. That's the early New York plate. I love it. Headlights look really good. You can still see some posting on there, but it's not as bad. And Plymouth is engraved, or like it's tampoed on the grill there. I don't know if we can pick that up. There you go. So just good looking. The yellow, it's perfect. I know these cars, it's a hard yellow to capture sometimes. It's not really a banana yellow. It's even more white is in the paint. It's a very opaque sometimes yellow. And they picked that up really well. So silver wheel, that was also a thing. There's a picture of one of these cars on the internet from the old days, which is awesome. Hopefully it inspired them to do this, because there's not too many pictures of the early cars like this, especially in the 80s and the 70s, like this car is. But again, not too much difference in the casting, especially when you get to the side. Fury script, and in real life too, you know, that script really didn't change on the side, so they left it on this one. You get the silver painted wheels. I kind of cleaned the flashing off the tires. They had some flashing, so you just take them off. Soft rubber. I haven't set them in place yet, so they still kind of are loose on the rim. They come sort of loose from Greenlight, so you got to kind of look at them and clean them up a little bit. Also, like their smaller cars and stuff, there is a little bit of like residue from assembly that just wipes right off. You just take a microfiber and it comes off. It's just how they put them together. They do it really quickly, so you know, but it's easy. I mean, it's almost like they want you to kind of just finish the car off. I guess that's part of the trade-off in not having this car be over $100, really. But the casting is really done good, just like the other ones. It's great that they invested it. Hopefully get their money out of it. The one thing that they did a little quick on this assembly this time was the Plymouth is a little hastily applied. It's a little crooked. Something I could do, and what I'd do is you'd have to take a blade and pick this off. It comes up, but it requires a lot of time, and I'll probably leave this car factory just because it's good. I might add another one because I do like the New York and New Jersey cars, just because that's where I grew up. So it is nice to see it. Again, really accurate. I think this time they added a little bit more detail to the markings, and it shows because the car looks a lot more finished than the New York police car does. I'm going to put it next to each other this time I won't forget. The only other gripe I'd say is, again, this should be silver on this car. When you got this package on these vehicles, this bumper filler usually was silver. It was not painted, but again, there it goes. So, and how these cars come when they have accessories, you know, including the antenna, you know, it's separate, and you install it. So this is separate in the package. The light bar comes off, and then, you know, I don't glue it in because there's no point to do that. And I ruined the paint doing that. And if you want to put it back on the box, because the box is styrofoam, you need to take the light bar off. So it's good because if you need to move the cars around, they're safe. Always keep the box. This is the exterior. I love it. Alright, black interior on this car. It's the first time we're seeing black on one of these. It is that composite rubber vinyl type situation with those seats, so soft, plastic hard floor, and then it has that old radio. Everything's black, but it has the same stickers as the other cars with the wood grain and all that. I went in there with the chrome pen and detailed the steering column a little bit. That's really all it needs. So really, when and I'll take the light bar off for a minute because turn the car over again. This car, it's all screw, so just unscrew everything and it comes apart, and that way you can clean it, because unfortunately the fingerprints and all that stuff extends to the windshield and the windows, so you got to get in there and clean that out for it to present well. But once you put a little time into it, car's awesome. Looks great. The other thing I did was, since this was a little bit crooked because there was a lot of flashing, I went ahead and opened this up and repositioned the lights to make them look more random. You know, because they did rotate in there in the old days, so kind of just took it and kind of spun them a little bit. So cleaned it up, made sure this was all flush. So once you clean the flashing off, if like it's crooked, it comes off. You just take a drill and just screw it out a little bit there. Just drill it, just over the surface, so it breaks that glue, and then it just pops right off. You don't even have to glue it back, it just snaps in. But yeah, so it is separate. It comes like this in the package, but sometimes it might have some flashing, so nothing a little sanding won't take care of. But yeah, it looks great. It's clear, and it looks like what they do is those are clear, and they think they paint the color on there, because it's, you can see the runs a little bit when you look at it. So there is our Plymouth, and then you get the removable push bar. A lot of these cars had these heavy duty type aspects to them because, again, the choke points of these points of access, especially the bridges and tollways, you had to be able to push the cars out of the way if they're stalled. Especially in the tunnels, you could only have 2 or 3 lanes in one direction, you know, and you're moving a lot of people. So car broke down, they had an accident, you had to get in there and just get that right away going again. They also had these short little tow trucks painted this color too. It would go in there, and they were really short. It's funny, they were so short you could turn the truck around inside the tunnel. They like chopped it, like bobbed tow trucks, but heavy ones, you know, they could tow a bus or a semi truck that got stuck. I always thought that was a funny thing. And then just one more time, the rear of the car, it's got the Plymouth taillights, and it has that Plymouth arrow right there. So really accurate, good looking car, really good looking car. So another A+, and don't forget this time I'll have its old friend come in, so you know that a suspect, they had to meet up and they had to go bring it on in. So there's the old New York City and the Port Authority, and the box actually looks the same all around. And I also was lucky enough really to get a really early one. This was before we go, just so you can see, this one I got yeah, it's 50, so that's pretty cool. So it is numbered again, who knows how many they make. I'm sure if they do a database at some point we'll be able to figure it out. But I just love the color scheme, and again, very nostalgic for me. So 77 Plymouth Fury by Greenlight in 1/18 scale, another home run, and I highly recommend it. Next video we're going to do the Roundup. Till next time.